So many of us envision and dream to run empires and to own them. And some are already living that life. And by empire, I don't mean it in the political sense, but I'm talking about it in terms of estate and living, as well as business. And bear in mind, this word empire is not a language that's only limited to kings and queens and, people in high places, but any person really who desires to operate or run on a large scale. Most importantly, visionaries. I want to highlight a key factor about owning an empire. To be imperial heavily relies on your team of laborers. But the focal point that I want to surface in the detail of this labor force is this idea of workers versus servants. You see, there are workers and there are servants. For you to flourish in the building and in the running of your empire, for it to be stronger, for you to be in control, to know how to disseminate and apportion and give the right instructions so that the right output is produced, you then have to be able to distinguish this phenomenon of workers versus servants and be able to apply it. Who are workers? They render skill, they produce, they get remuneration. They don't really care for nothing. Only output and pay. Who are servants? Servants render skill, yes, but they don't work within the confines or the laws of when someone is working for you. But instead they work with you. They grow with you. They suffer with you. And how do you locate them? You know when someone is your servant because they have very, very keen and passionate interest in your success. Their remuneration is partial. It may be there, it may not be there. It may start off with nothing and eventually remuneration becomes available. But nonetheless, they always want to be there with you. Whatever the outcome may be, whatever the pay may be. If there's no pay, there is pay. They always will be with you. You see, and they don't only produce the main work that has to be done, but they are usually involved in a number of things. So you will do well to know who is who. Don't just look at your labor force in terms of, okay, I have workers, but you have to look for your servants. And know this, every true ordained empire, God has attached servants to it, especially for visionary projects whose outcome is meant to be large and very impactful in economy. Know when to use a worker and when to appoint a servant. Who is who? Servants are like your amour. They cultivate. And from the 36 spiritual gifts to mankind that's mentioned in the book of Corinth and in the book of Romans, they possess a very, very special gift. And this gift is called the gift of service, meaning that they're meant to serve. Without them, your empire is rather on the weaker side and in danger. Danger in terms of growth and development. How do you locate such servants? You locate them through movement. You have to be in motion. When you're busy going about running your empire, doing this and that, making sure that things are in place, work is being produced, you bump into your servant. They just present themselves to you. So the key thing there is that you have to keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open. When your servant appears in the midst of your laborers, in the midst of your workers, you will know. You will be able to detect, that's my servant over there, because of the style of how they are serving you. The gift of their service is very much different from that of workers. So you have a task to find them. Better still, pray to God. Pray to your Maker. Ask the Lord. Pray within the depths of your heart that God, I need my servants in the midst of my workers. Where are my servants, God? Usher them my way. Bring them my direction, oh God. As you keep on working, God will answer your prayers and his servants will appear on the scene. You also have a task that when you are running your empire, and this is for those that are already in motion, their empire is already moving, you have a task to keep shuffling your team of laborers, your workers and your servants. It's just like how a president would shuffle their cabinet. You have to make sure that you place your servants on top and in key positions. You need to be able to disseminate and apportion your team of laborers correctly in their right positions. Most especially paying attention to your servant. You need very, very special wisdom in handling your servants in their various characters, behaviors, ups, downs. You must have a lot of tolerance. Some of your servants, they come in their most raw state. They're like a rough diamond. You have to polish them, cleanse them, wash them, shape them, until they become and serve the way that they're supposed to. So servants also have time frames of their service. Some are short-term and some are meant to be long-term, to walk with you and serve you for a very long time. And in that very service of short versus long, you have to have very special wisdom, I reiterate, on when to know time of service has expired and when to reshuffle. These are very, very key things when you're running your empire. You need to be able to know how to handle your workers. When their time has come, when their time hasn't come, in terms of you to promote them, to shift them, to move them, to send them elsewhere. But it is very important, extremely crucial, that you handle your servants well. Handle them well if you want God to bless you. If you want the blessings to come cascading down, it's very important that you take care of your servants. Never mind if there's any special remuneration. I'm not only talking about it in monetary terms, but I'm speaking about care. Your servants work so hard to cultivate your empire, to take care of your empire, and to ensure on its growth and development. You too have a responsibility to bless them, and that is to care for their living. I would like to illuminate this. You are a servant in the empire of someone, but currently you're working elsewhere and you're struggling to make it. Nothing is making sense. Things are not moving. It's just frustrating because that's not where God ordained you to be. You are meant to be working and managing in the empire of someone and not you. Some of you, because you've been so close in the running of someone's empire, you know their strategies, you know everything. You do what? You depart. You go and look for greener pastures. And what happens when you get there? You emulate them. You do everything like they do. Strategies, tactics, research, connections, everything. You try to emulate it in your own adventure. What happens? You become frustrated. You hit rock bottom. Nothing is moving. Nothing is working. Why? You were not meant to be running this on your own. God ordained you like the way hierarchy and systems work. God ordained you to be managing and working in the empire of science. Because without that, without you being in that specific position, without you being in that key management place, the empire is not going to run. It's not going to work. It's dependent on you. You see, you need to know how God operates. God looks at systems and hierarchy. That's how the economy works. I mean, if you imagine this, if everyone was running on their own, doing whatever, everyone, I'm talking about this whole population and inhabitants of Earth in the billions range. Imagine if everyone is running their project. That's not how society works. That's not how economy is built. Economy is built on systems and hierarchy. So you are trying to do this thing on your own. But, sometimes it can be successful. It can work to a certain extent. But you're not running in your full might, in your full strength. Why? Because you are not meant to be working out your own adventure. So for your greener pastures to come, you have to be working in the empire of someone else. That's where your green pastures are, and this is where God has ordained you to be. And a final illumination is that a servant is not only a person whom a random person who you hire, you meet them in society, you give them a job. Your wife can be a servant. Your own son, your own daughter can be a servant, as well as your relatives. Look to these specific people that I've mentioned when it comes to the gift of service. It's good to have workers. People, they need jobs, they need to work. Work must be produced, but you have to know, once again, I'll highlight it, when to use workers and when to appoint a servant. Know this terrain very well.
The Wellness Encouragement